The cold hit first, not the air, the way it sank into her bones. I found her in the chicken coop, curled into herself, knees drawn tight, shivering. The smell of damp straw clung to the air. Her sweater was thin, her hands mottled red from the cold. When she looked up, her eyes were wet but steady. Mother-in-law said, "I'm not part of the family anymore. She made me leave." Her voice was brittle, the kind of brittle that snaps under weight. She had always been fragile, born into a world that demanded more than she could give. And yet, she endured. Until now. I wanted to storm into that house and pull it apart brick by brick. Instead, I draped my coat around her shoulders, lifted her. Her head rested against me, and in that silence, something tightened inside my chest. It wasn't just cruelty, it was calculated. I asked her why. She only shook her head. In the car, she avoided my eyes, staring at the blurred tree line beyond the rain. Every now and then her lips moved, silent rehearsals of words she didn't speak. When we arrived at my house, I made tea, wrapped her in a blanket, and waited. She didn't drink. She didn't thaw. Later that night, while she slept on the couch, I stood at the window, replaying her words. Not part of the family anymore. It had weight, legal weight, financial weight. Her husband's mother always smiled too long. Her husband himself, too quiet when I entered a room, too quick to steer conversations away from anything personal. There had been signs. The missed calls she'd answered in the kitchen, voice hushed. The tension in her shoulders when his name lit her phone. Now I could feel it, the outline of something hidden, pressed hard against the surface. I didn't tell her what I was doing, not yet. I started with property records, discreetly, through a clerk I knew from years back. The deed to their house had been altered 2 months ago. Her name was gone. Bank statements came next. Withdrawals in amounts too precise to be coincidence. Large sums moved to an account under his mother's maiden name. I dug into phone records. Late-night calls to a number registered in another district. Same number appeared in the mother-in-law's logs. Each piece slotted into place, the picture sharpening. They were not just cruel, they were removing her, stripping her of every tie, every asset, every place to stand. At dinners, I kept my face neutral, my voice level. I asked after the weather, about work, about his car. He thought I was harmless. They all did. The final proof came from a lawyer's envelope slid across my desk at the cafe. A draft agreement, property, funds, and custody rights already signed by him. Her signature line blank. Her removal from the coop hadn't been humiliation. It had been eviction. I drove to their house at dusk. She was there, seated in the living room, eyes downcast. He sat across from her, posture relaxed, as though nothing were wrong. I stepped inside without knocking, laid the papers on the coffee table between us. No words. He scanned the first page. The blood drained from his face. Her eyes darted up, confusion giving way to something heavier. I didn't speak. Didn't need to. When I left, the air in that room was thick enough to choke on. I waited until morning to make the call. One call, to the bank with the documents as leverage. Another to a social worker I knew, ensuring her rights were legally frozen in place before he could move again. By evening, his accounts were locked, his access to the house suspended pending legal review. I sent him one text: "You have no ground to stand on." No threats, no accusations, just the truth. The kind of truth that stripped him of every tool he'd used against her. From my window, I watched him arrive at my driveway that night, headlights cutting the dark. He didn't knock, just stood there, staring at the door, until the rain drove him back into his car. He left without a word. She sleeps now in the spare room. The color is returning to her cheeks. She still doesn't know the full extent of what I've done. Maybe she never will. I've kept the documents in a locked drawer, Not for leverage, but as record, a reminder. He won't come back. Not because he's afraid of me, because he's already lost. There's no satisfaction in it, no warmth in the victory, only stillness. And in that stillness, I know, revenge isn't fire, it's ice. It freezes a man where he stands and leaves him to feel the cold seep in, inch by inch, until he understands exactly what he's done and exactly who took everything from him.